You handled yourself very well there, Scott. You put your
well,
head in
you know, Rich, we like to tackle the important journalism questions of the day on our program, and we're just here to serve. We're just here to serve America.
Now, why did you ask him about Seinfeld? How did that come up? For those who
the Cliff's Notes, it goes like this. Brandon McCarthy pitches for the Dodgers, and I'm paraphrasing, but he pitched against the Mets the other night, and he said I don't have the tweet memorized, but it was something about it's crazy to realize that, I have Jerry Seinfeld's happiness in my hands when I pitch against the Mets. And so I responded to him, do you think Seager and Bellinger know who Seinfeld is? To which he replied, it bums me out that I don't know for sure the answer to that question. So I thought, well, we're going to talk to Bellinger, and we did the requisite baseball questions because the guy's playing out of his mind. But then I got to the question that I was most interested in finding out: does he indeed, or does he not know who Jerry Seinfeld is? And you've just played for your viewers and listeners the answer to said question, and it set off quite a visceral reaction across the country.
It did, because I know that Brockman, you may have excused the fact that he hasn't been on the air since 98, but it's on the air pretty much. It's
on
like
TBS every day for 2 hours.
It's like the comedy version of Law and Order, essentially. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's all over.
Seinfeld's everywhere, and the funny thing is, Scott, as you mentioned, McCarthy, I guess, being the reason this all started, is somebody tweeted at McCarthy and Bellinger. I have a feeling McCarthy is upset with you, and Bellinger tweeted back, he is, and then with a minute later, McCarthy tweeted back, I am.
Yep. Yeah, he said that if he weren't so good at baseball, I'd lobby to have you suspended. I mean, my friends and I I was down in D.C. this weekend with a bunch of my buddies from college, just like Seinfeld era age people, right?
Sure.
And we were having this sort of philosophical conversation about how this happens. And I don't think it's particularly complicated. Rich, we're children of an age when, we predate cable being everywhere, and there were only so many television shows, so you saw the Leave It to Beavers and I Love Lucy's because that's all there was.
Right.
Well, if you're 21 and you're Cody and you grew up in an era exclusively of cable and dishes and the internet, well, there are so many thousands of options that you don't need to sit and watch the reruns of Seinfeld. So, I mean, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a bit of wiggle room for a young man to plausibly not know who one of the most famous comedians and television stars of our era. I guess that's how that happens.
I guess, Scott, also maybe this is on us here because, it's just us having to come with grips of being of a different generation than somebody who's 21 years old.
Yeah, being weeks, maybe months tops away from death from old age.
Because,
I got morbid.
Because I saw a photograph over the weekend, I tweeted this one out too, of Jorge Posada at the Yankees old-timers game for the first time. And I'm like,
oh, God.
I turned 48 over the weekend, made me feel 108. Just seeing that.
Yeah, like he's Yogi Berra or something.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's incredible.
Right.
But, it's instructive. And, it's honestly, the thing I've taken seriously, legitimately, I've taken inventory of this fact is that just the amount of time that passes and passes so quickly. And this happens from time to time with this segment we do on our show called The Vault, and it happened with you recently where we had a segment from the Bulls winning a title where you're doing this great highlight read, and you're thinking, my gosh, I mean, it's time gets away from us quickly, and you wake up one day and there's a star in Major League Baseball who doesn't have any idea who Seinfeld is.
Right.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that video, be sure to download our app. Don't have any memory on your phone? Let's start to delete some of those slow-mo videos you have. And you know which ones I'm talking about.